Most men are listening to her words. They're tracking the conversation, following the logic, responding to what she says, and completely missing everything else. Because while her words are doing one thing, her hands are doing something entirely different. Her fingers move to her neck, or she reaches for her glass and holds it just a little longer than necessary. Or her hand drifts to her hair, slowly, without her even realizing it happened. And here's what most men assume. They assume it's nothing. They assume it's a habit, a nervous tic, just something she does. But it isn't. What you're watching is emotion leaking out of a woman who is trying very hard to appear composed. And once you understand what's actually happening in those moments, you will never watch a conversation the same way again. This isn't about reading minds. It's not about manipulation or games. It's about understanding something real, something that happens in the body before the heart is ready to speak. Because she will rarely tell you directly what she feels. Not at first. Not while she's still figuring it out herself. But her hands will tell you everything. Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a woman and felt like something was happening underneath it, but you couldn't quite name it? Like she was saying one thing, but there was something else moving just beneath the surface. You felt it, but you didn't have the language for it. That feeling was real. You weren't imagining it. You were just missing the key that would have made it readable. That's what this is about. Now, before we go further, let's talk about why this happens at all. Because understanding the behavior starts with understanding what the body is actually trying to do. Human beings don't only communicate through words. That's something we know intellectually. But most people don't truly feel the weight of it until they see it operating in real time. The body is always communicating, always processing, always responding to what's happening emotionally, even when the mind is trying to stay neutral. And here's where it gets interesting. When emotions rise, not dramatically, not in a way that causes panic, but when they rise just slightly above comfortable, the body looks for something to do with that energy. It needs an anchor. It needs somewhere to direct what it's feeling, because the feeling is real, but the person isn't ready to express it yet. So the body creates its own quiet release valve. And that release valve is touch. Not touch towards someone else necessarily. Not always. Sometimes it's touch toward herself. Sometimes it's touch toward an object nearby. Sometimes it's a slow, unconscious movement that she would deny if you pointed it out because she genuinely doesn't know she's doing it. That's what makes this so important to understand. This isn't performance. It's not calculated. It's the body doing what the mind won't allow yet. And in the context of attraction specifically, this becomes something worth paying very close attention to. Because when a woman is around someone she feels something toward, even something early and undefined, her emotional system activates in a way that creates mild internal tension. Not discomfort, not fear, just that quiet, slightly elevated awareness that comes when someone matters to you more than you're ready to admit. And that tension needs somewhere to go. So it goes into her hands, into her fingertips, into the small, almost invisible movements that most men look right past. Now here's something I want you to hold on to as we go deeper into this. The more she's trying to appear unaffected, the more these movements tend to increase. That's not a contradiction. That's actually the key to understanding everything that follows. Because suppression doesn't eliminate emotion. Suppression redirects it. And the body always finds a way to let it out, quietly, in the smallest possible ways. She's not trying to signal you. She's trying to contain herself. And the containment is the signal. That one idea is going to completely reframe how you read the next section. Because we're about to go through each specific touch, what it looks like, when it happens, and what's actually moving underneath it. Not as a checklist, not as a trick, but as a genuine understanding of what a woman's body is telling you when her words aren't ready to say it yet. Stay with me. So let's start with the first place her hands often go. Her neck, her throat, the soft line of her collarbone. You've seen this more times than you realize. You're talking, nothing extreme. Maybe a light joke. Maybe you ask her a slightly more personal question. Nothing that would count as deep. And then it happens. Her fingers drift up. She lightly brushed the side of her neck. Or hook a finger under a necklace. or press her palm against her collarbone like she is suddenly aware of that whole area. Most men file this under grooming. You assume she is adjusting jewelry, fixing her top, doing what women always do. But this part of the body is not random. The neck is a vulnerable zone, instinctively protected. It is where the body feels exposed. Animals guard it. Humans do too. So when a woman reveals that area, or touches it, or draws attention to it, while she is talking to you, her nervous system is doing something important. On one level, she might be trying to cover herself. On another level, she is exposing a part of her that does not feel neutral. That tiny movement often shows up right when the conversation edges closer to something real. She feels seen in a way that is just a little too clear. She is not scared, but she is alert. Her hand goes up like a shield and a spotlight all at once. If you watch closely, you will notice something else. She doesn't always keep her hand there. Sometimes it lands, stays for a second, then pulls away fast, as if she just caught herself revealing too much. That little pullback tells you her conscious mind just woke up. There was a moment of pure, unfiltered response. Then the social self rushed in and tried to tidy it up. This is how emotional leakage works. The body speaks first. The mind edits. If you can stay present without reacting, without staring at her neck, without making some comment about it, she will feel something very specific in her body. Safety. Because what you do in those few seconds silently teaches her whether her vulnerability is allowed or not. You won't see the decision on her face, but it happens. Now watch what happens when the touch moves higher, from her neck to her hair. Hair play is one of the most misunderstood signals men see. You think flirt. You think girly. You think she is putting on a show. Most of the time, she isn't. Imagine what is happening inside her. Her awareness has gone up. Her heart rate maybe ticks just a little faster. There is a spark of curiosity, a pull toward you, and she is trying not to let it run her. So her body looks for rhythm. The fingers find strands of hair, twist, release, repeat, or they slide through the ends, or tuck one piece behind the ear again and again. This is not boredom. Boredom is slow, heavy. The body collapses when she is not interested. Attraction tension is different. Her spine is more awake. Her eyes track you more precisely. She laughs a half beat later because she is inside her own head checking, what am I doing right now? The hair becomes a way to bleed off nervous energy without fully showing it. Her nervous system loves repetition. It calms her. It lets her keep talking like everything is normal, even though nothing feels normal. Here is what quietly disqualifies a man in this moment. He calls it out in a way that makes her feel watched, not seen. He jokes about her touching her hair like it is some cliché flirting move. Now her body goes from softly alert to defended, because you turned a private regulation pattern into a performance. The men she relaxes around notice the movement, but they don't drag it into the spotlight. They let her settle herself. They keep the conversation grounded. They give her nervous system time to catch up to what she is feeling. Her body remembers that. Now there is another pattern that looks less intimate, but it often means even more. When her hands leave her body and reach for what is around her, the glass, the phone on the table, the edge of the bar, the stem of her drink. She traces circles on the rim, taps a slow rhythm with one finger, turns the glass halfway, then again, long after there is any reason to be touching it. From the outside, this looks like distraction. Like she is bored, or not listening, or thinking of something else. Often, it is the opposite. She is carefully listening, deeply processing, deciding how much of herself to reveal next. Remember this moment. The object becomes an extension of her internal world. She cannot touch what she is actually thinking about. So her fingers find the nearest thing, and they stay there, longer than needed, longer than normal, with a kind of quiet, concentrated pressure that she is completely unaware of. This happens most when she is weighing something, not just what to say next, but whether to say it at all. She is deciding how honest to be, how open, how much access to give you. And while that internal conversation is happening, her hands are busy. There is something almost tender about it when you understand it. She is right on the edge of something, and her fingers are holding her steady while she decides whether to step forward. If you interrupt that moment, if you rush her, if you fill the silence because it makes you uncomfortable, you break the thread. She was almost ready to give you something real, and then the moment closed. The men she opens up to have learned, sometimes without knowing they learned it, that her quiet is not empty. Her quiet is full, and they wait in it without flinching. That stillness you hold while she traces the rim of her glass. That is more attractive than anything you could say in that moment. Now let's talk about the touch that feels the most significant, but is also the easiest to misread. When she briefly touches you. A light tap on your arm when she laughs. A quick brush against your hand. Her fingers landing on your shoulder for maybe 1 second, then pulling back. Men tend to file this one of two ways. She is just friendly. Or, she wants me. Definitely. Without question. Both readings miss what is actually happening. She is running a test. Not a manipulative one. Not a calculated one. An emotional one. Her body sent out a small probe. Low risk. Easy to retract. What she is waiting to see is not whether you noticed. She already knows you noticed. What she is watching for is how you carry it. Do you stiffen? Do you make a face? Do you immediately lean in like a door just opened? Or do you stay exactly where you were? Warm, steady, unbothered. The men who pass this test almost always do it without realizing they were being tested, because they were not performing calm. They actually were calm, and that calm tells her something her nervous system needed to know. You are safe. Not safe as in boring. Not safe as in predictable. Safe as in, if she moves a little closer, you are not going to destabilize. You are not going to make it weird. You are not going to rush what she is not ready for. That information travels through her body faster than any word could, and it opens something. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. The way a door opens when someone finally finds the right key. Have you ever realized later that she was showing you something, and you only understood it after the moment was already gone? If that has happened to you, I want you to leave a comment and tell me, because I think more men carry that quiet confusion than ever say it out loud. Now there is one more touch pattern, and this one is perhaps the most intimate, even though it involves no contact between the two of you at all. When she touches her own face while she is listening to you, her finger rests near her lips, or she presses her fingertips lightly against her cheek, or her hand comes up slowly, like she is thinking, but the movement is softer than thinking. This one tends to happen when something you said landed, not something impressive necessarily, something real. You revealed a piece of yourself, or you said something that matched something she already felt inside but had not heard said out loud. Or you were simply present in a way that made her want to stay inside the conversation. And her face becomes the place where that internal response lives. Her fingers find her lips and stay there. This is deep engagement. This is not polite listening. This is a woman whose attention has narrowed to almost only you. Her internal world has quieted. Everything outside the conversation has blurred, and her hand is resting gently near the most expressive part of her face. Because even her body is leaning in. Even her body is saying, "Stay. Say more. I am here." And the thing about this moment is, it is fragile. Not because she is fragile, but because real attention is rare. And the body knows it. She does not touch her face like this when she is performing interest. She does it when interest arrived without her permission. And she is still deciding what to do about it. Here is something that will reframe everything you have read so far. The more she is trying to appear unaffected, the more these touches increase. That sounds backwards, but it is exactly how emotional suppression works in the body. When a woman decides she does not want to be obvious, when she tells herself to act normal, to stay cool, to not give too much away, her mind tightens around the emotion. But her body does not receive that memo. The emotion still needs somewhere to go, so it moves, quietly, through her hands, through her fingertips, through every small unconscious gesture she would deny if you named them. Suppression does not delete what she feels. It just reroutes it. And the more effort she puts into containing herself, the more her body leaks. This is not weakness. This is just how a nervous system handles something it cannot fully process in real time. You are standing in front of her, and she is feeling something she was not expecting to feel, or feeling it more strongly than she was prepared for. And her entire social presentation is trying to hold the shape of normal, while everything underneath is moving. That movement, those small touches, that quiet, almost invisible language her body speaks, that is not the surface of what she feels. That is the depth of it trying to stay hidden. And here is what makes this different from a flirting checklist. These are not signals she is sending you. They are signals she is sending herself. Trying to self-regulate, trying to stay composed, trying to remain in the conversation without dissolving into whatever is rising inside her. You just happen to be close enough to witness it. And what you do with that witnessing, that is everything. Because most men make one of two mistakes here. The first mistake is seeing nothing. The conversation ends. She goes home. He replays it later, wondering why it felt charged, wondering if something was there. Never quite sure. He was there for all of it. He missed all of it. The second mistake is seeing everything and doing too much with it. He notices the hair touch, decides it means something confirmed, leans in too fast, says something that exposes exactly how closely he was watching, and the whole thing collapses because she was not ready to be seen that clearly. She was not done deciding, and his reaction told her he was already 3 steps ahead of where she actually was. That kind of rushing does not feel exciting to her. It feels like pressure, and pressure does not build attraction. Pressure closes her down. The right response, the one that actually works, is almost nothing. You stay present. You stay warm. You hold the conversation at the same temperature. You give no signal that you noticed, and no signal that you didn't. You simply remain. And what happens next is something most men never get to see. She relaxes. Not all at once. It happens in layers. Her shoulders drop maybe a fraction. Her sentences become slightly longer. The pauses between her words carry less tension. She starts to settle into the space between you. And that settling, that is the beginning of real trust. Not the kind of trust that comes from time alone. The kind that comes from feeling safe inside a moment. When she realizes that what leaked out of her did not change how you held yourself. That you did not flinch, did not push, did not make it into something she had to manage. Something in her nervous system registers that. And it opens a door. Not dramatically. She will not announce it. You may not even notice it in the moment. But later, when she thinks back on the conversation, she will remember how she felt standing next to you, and that feeling will pull her back. Picture this. You are both somewhere ordinary. A coffee shop. A quiet corner at a gathering. Maybe just walking side by side. The conversation is light. Nothing heavy. She is talking about something that happened at work, or something she noticed recently. And then almost in the middle of a sentence, she slows down. Her fingers find her glass. Start tracing the rim. She looks at you for a moment. Then her eyes move away. Not because she lost interest. Because she felt something and needed a second to breathe through it. Then she comes back. Eye contact returns. She finishes her sentence. Laughs a little. Moves on. Nothing dramatic happened. You might have thought nothing happened at all. But something did. She crossed a small internal threshold. From neutral, to curious, to quietly aware of you in a way she wasn't 10 minutes ago. And the whole thing moved through her body before her mind had a single word for it. This is how attraction actually begins for most women. Not in a declaration, not in a moment of certainty, in a quiet, almost invisible shift, where her body decides something, before she consciously agrees. And the path from that first quiet shift to something real, to something that grows, that path runs directly through how you make her feel in these early moments. Not what you say, how you carry yourself while she is still deciding. She will not show you her interest the way you might expect. She will show you by trying to control it. And the control will leak. Through her hands, through her fingers, through those small, wordless movements that she does not even know she is making. The more subtle the signal, the more real the emotion beneath it. That is not a theory. That is what happens when a woman feels something she is not ready to say out loud yet. So let me ask you something. Has there ever been a moment, a conversation, a woman you were talking to, where something and you knew something was there, but you only understood it clearly after it was already gone? If that has happened to you, it was not your fault that you missed it. Nobody taught you to read it. But now you know, and knowing changes everything. If you are starting to see interactions differently after this, if something here clicked in a way that feels true, you do not need to rush to the next thing. Sit with it. Let it settle. The men who actually understand women are not the ones who collected the most information. They are the ones who slowed down enough to pay real attention. That is what this channel is about. Not tricks, not tactics, truth. And when things finally start making sense, when patterns become clear, come back to Lies Unmasked and tell me thank you. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.